Oh dear. It appears I've upset a few cyclists. Never mind. Anyway, morning world. Welcome to Saturday, 10th of July. I seem to have got myself into a bit of a spot, and now it's nothing to do with cyclists. My opinion on that stands. We've got concrete ordered for next Wednesday to do the pads on the barn, and the weatherman says it's going to be unsettled and drizzly and rainy and whatever else, so I kind of need to leave digging the pad holes as late as I can so they don't fill it with water, and that's okay. But our builder's also coming on Tuesday to start digging out ready for the footings for our extension. Both jobs need my digger, so I've either got to try and put the builder off, which I don't want to do because I might miss my slot on that. Alright, only for a day or so, but I could miss my slot on that, or I dig my holes early. I'm not going to dig them today, but we might have to do it on Monday, so which wasn't what I was planning to do. Anyway, we've got a bit more of the base to come out of here. We left that lump in the middle mainly because it was wet, and it gave the guys like an island of dryness that they could walk across or on or whatever else. But now everything's marked out, they don't really need that. So that needs to come out as well, and if I can get it right, I can perhaps drain a lot of this water down to the far corner where there is a drain and get rid of it. It won't help my pad holes. If they're going to fill it with water, there's not much I can do about that. But the thing is, I've got to get rid of all that, and my tip, which is up there, which is the ditch, is currently full of firewood or timber that my tree guys cut yesterday. So before I can do any of that, I've got to finish off the job up there and clear some of that. As always, it is a case of I want to do job A, but before I can do job A, I've got to do job B and C first. Many of you will know exactly what I'm talking about. So I was going to do it in my Land Rover because I haven't got to lift the firewood or the timber up so high, but I don't know, some of it is probably light enough that I can do it with this. I'm going to be a bit gentle because yesterday, didn't have a camera on me, which is just as well because I dropped it. Yesterday I fell out of the skid steer. Well, I almost fell out of the skid steer. I went to jump in. I think something I've done hundreds, if not thousands of times. I jumped in there and my foot wasn't quite right on the top of the rail there and slipped, but I didn't have a proper grip of the handlebars, so I had to grab them quick, and basically I had to stop myself mid-fall, and in doing so I've done myself a small injury to my right elbow, which is quite sore. So the idea is I'm not going to try lifting big bits of timber because I'm just going to hurt myself. So I'm going to take the dumper up. Worst comes to worst, I'll take the skid steer up as well, and I'll just roll it into the bucket and then into there. It's a bit of a long-winded thing, but at the moment I've got a little injury on my elbow, which I will hopefully will sort itself out in a couple of days. I don't want to turn my little injury into something more prolonged. Should we put it that way? Let's put it that way. Right, okay, that's kind of clean enough. He hasn't got to be spotless. He might have to be spotless next week though, in concreting. That's next week. Tipping the bucket only gives me a couple of more inches or less inches to lift over, but you know, sometimes just an inch can make all the difference. Hang on a minute. I can hear what you're saying. He's got the digger. Why didn't he just pick him up with the digger? Well, it's a simple reason why. I don't want to get them covered in too much dirt, because dirt, clay, soil, all that sort of stuff, and saw blades, they don't get on. So the little bit of effort I put in now to keep the timber clean will hopefully save time later on sharpening saws and wasting metal. You know what I mean. Right, sorted. I can hear some of you saying, oh, lazy git, you should chuck them up there. Well, yeah, I could, but you know what? They're not light. This isn't low. I'm not a young guy anymore, and I'd rather think of clever ways to load it up than show everybody how strong I'm not. Yeah. So we'll go on and clear the rest of this. And those two little piles down there, and then that's that job ticked off, job done. The guys are going to just whittle these stumps down a bit lower next week. I could do that, but I don't actually own a set of chainsaw gear at the minute, because I gave my last lot to Mikey, and well, he's taking it home. But I don't want to wear it because he's been wearing it. So. Not that he's got foot and mouth or anything, or crotch rot or anything like that, but it's no, it's his name. Okay, so yeah, we'll get this last bit of timber picked up. I won't get all that because that needs cutting up anyway. I'll get the smaller bits there, all that over there, and then we can start maybe looking at digging out some of the more of the middle of that down there. So today it's going to be a bit more of Dewson and Bomford, or is it Bomford and Dewson? It's early, alright, it's just early. He's already halfway up. I know I said I wasn't going to do this, but these hits are big. I bet they were looking for that yesterday. That's a long way up there. Not as much as I thought. How many of you are familiar with the concept of you hit what you're looking at? So for example, you're driving on a road and you see a pothole, and because you see the pothole, you hit it. You just seem to go straight for it. Anybody else know that? On a bike, you've got to be extra wary of, if you see an obstacle on the road, you spot it, but you don't look at it. You look at the way around it. Does that make sense? Otherwise, you hit it. Well, I'm having a problem here because every time I walk past these marker posts, I find myself looking at them, and just now come past her going, don't look at it because you're blinking will hit it, after telling him and promising I wouldn't. Yeah, okay, I'm sure a couple of you know exactly what I'm talking about. Okay, it's 4 minutes to 10. I'm going to go and put the kettle on. I can't really complain after telling everybody I hurt myself and how I did it, and that I wasn't going to lift up heavy logs into the dumper because that would be stupid, particularly as I had a machine that could do it for me.
What did I go and do? Alright, the really heavy ones I did put in with the machine, but I thought, the lighter ones I'll be alright. Okay, I'm going to be paying for that for the rest of the day. So, no sympathy, not asking for sympathy, I'm just saying stupid is as stupid does. Forrest Gump definitely, or his mother, had a point. This will make you feel better. Hot. So there is a feature in the Farmers Weekly that I actually know quite a lot about, and it's this one: managing trees, health and safety and risks and costs. That is something I do understand. This article's okay, but it really only scratches the surface, and it actually omits a few quite important bits. It says about keeping trees safe if you invite people onto your property. Well, you've got to be responsible for even those that are not invited on your property. So under occupiers liability regulations, even a trespasser, if he's hurt by a branch falling off your tree, he can sue you. So this is literally just, they needed 4 or 5 pages of this to actually get the story across. Trees on your land, on your boundary, or your neighbour's boundary, whatever else, they do need to be managed, and you do need to keep an eye on them. And it is worth walking around your farm or your property and plotting any trees of significance, anything that if it failed could cause harm. Plot them on your farm map, or on a copy of your farm map. Identify them, name them, if you can, put an age on them and a general condition of them, and do they require any work? Is there any deadwood in it? Is there any splits in it? Is there badly formed crown structures? All that sort of stuff. And then yes, you can plan work between harvests and stuff like that, because the last thing you want is one of your trees failing 2 weeks before you put the combine out. That's not when you want it. You want it to fail 2 days after the combine's left, so you've got time to clear it up. Well, if you can control that failure yourself and do the work, although it's another job, it's one of those things that, you know, it is well worth the effort to literally walk around your farm. And to face it, most country folk, you don't have to be a fully qualified consultant tree surgeon to recognise a bit of deadwood or a split in it, or included bark and stuff like that. You don't need, you can, it's easy to recognise, and you can do this stuff. But if you do write it down, if you have a plan, and if you mark it out, if you have a little spreadsheet, you haven't got to spend hours and days on it, but you have something on paper. If something goes wrong and you have it on paper and you've written down, you've got evidence that you've checked your trees. Or if you really don't know, or you don't have time, then you can get someone to come in and do a walk round for you. I do a few walk rounds for folks, and it's literally walk round, plot stuff on a plan, mark out what it is, recommend what work's got to be done, and that's it. You just need something on a bit of paper that proves that you've done your duty of care and you've actually gone and looked, and you've recognised stuff, and you've put a plan together for dealing with whatever it is. So trees near boundaries, roads and public rights of way kind of need to take your priority, but anywhere on the farm, if you've got a tree anywhere that could pose a risk or cause damage to, say, the footpath 200 yards over there, but the oak tree's over there, and somebody might run across there in a storm to get out of the rain, and in that storm a branch falls off and kills them, you're still liable. Just because it's nowhere near the footpath, you're still liable. Even if somebody's come to rob your house and they're carrying away the loot from your house, and he takes shelter under that tree over there and a branch falls on him, you're liable. So yeah, occupiers liability and duty of care. So basically, occupiers liability is a set of regulations that involves all the trees inside your boundary, so on your property, or anybody inside your property. Duty of care involves trees that overhang your property, so overhanging to somebody else's. So you have a duty of care that if you have roadside trees, you've got to make sure that motorists, cyclists, walkers, pony riders, anybody on the road stays. So my wife just come on. Biscuit, your timing's dreadful. We'll pick this up later. Is that Mummy? Hello, Mummy. You alright? Are you going again?
No, I'm not going again. I'm just.
Oh, because she's parked out in the yard.
I know she is.
She's not going.
I'm being a kind person.
Are you giving her stuff out of our deep freeze? Or milk? There is a shop, 100 yards down the road from her house, you know. Alright. So, yeah. If you're in any sort of confusion, just Google occupiers liability and duty of care with regard to trees. It's kind of all there. If you're really interested, see if you can find a copy of BS 3998 2010. That's the British standard for trees. So that'll tell you how you should do it. That's actually not too bad for me.